You're tuned in to Repco Muscle Garage, the home of New Zealand's toughest muscle cars, hot rods and street machines. Proudly brought to you by Repco, in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's and Rislone. And later on in the show, we head down to the Tron to take a look at a pretty special Chevy, a tough workhorse that seriously looks the part. But first, we're in South Auckland for what can only be described as a shed raid on steroids, visiting the workshop and home of the world-famous Reg Cook. By any metric you'd care to measure, Reg has had an amazing life. He's had a storied career in motorsport, taking out countless trophies and records around the country. But that's just the beginning, because over the past 15 years, he's also gone on to break international land speed records as well. His organisation, Cook Motor Racing, have achieved some incredible things. Their Nissan NX Coupe Cookie officially became the fastest 2-litre naturally aspirated car on the planet. Their first streamliner, the Wairua, Māori for Spirit, has also laid down amazing world-beating runs on the fabled Bonneville Salt Flats. Now the Wairua 2 has even more records in its sights. And in true number 8 style, these world-beating achievements have all sprung from what is, all things considered, a pretty humble little workshop in Clevedon. So where did all these big dreams and even bigger achievements start?
My background in motorsport started, I was working on a farm as a child and my father needed a free labourer, so I learned how to drive tractors when I was really early. There was a circuit, I think that was at Levin. Took my little Mini down there, they joined me up. Yeah, so we won the class. I thought I'd modify my car further and go to a serious motor race meeting. I wanted to give myself the best chance of doing well, because if I failed, then that was going to be the end of it. And before the weekend was over, I broke the class lap record. From then on, excuse my expression, I was buggered. If I'd failed, that would have been the end of it. I would have stopped. Because I thought I could probably carry on doing it, I just carried on doing it. I had no desire to go motor racing or be famous or anything else. I just carried on following what I was good at.
And after a long and winding road through every conceivable racing class, that journey eventually led Reg to the infamous Bonneville Salt Flats, following in the footsteps of New Zealand's own world's fastest Indian. Yep, very much in the mould of a John Britton, Reg's recent creations really are the epitome of Kiwi ingenuity. And nothing typifies that quite like the first Wairua, a world record-setting streamliner powered by an old V10 Formula 1 engine, which went on to break 500 kilometres an hour in 2019.
We were sitting out here in my workshop, I think in probably about 2008 with Peter Merry, who's my sort of team manager or someone I trust. We were sitting here, what are we going to do next? And he said to me, well, what's on your bucket list? And I said, well, at some stage, we've done everything we could do. We'll go to Bonneville. So that's what we did.
Now for Reg and his CMR team, there's one big challenge they're currently throwing all their power, energy and resources towards. Building a streamliner capable of running over 550 miles per hour to claim the world record for a wheel-driven, piston-powered car. And this time, it's not Bonneville, but Bolivia they'll be heading to.
Wairua 2, our goal is to chase 550 mile an hour. Wairua 1 is capable of doing what we want to do, but the only problem we've got is only 2-wheel drive. So do we think we can get traction that's equivalent to 2,500 brake horsepower out of 2 wheels on the ground? And on the salt, we don't think we can do that. We think we'd get to a certain point and then it would just keep wheel spinning. The fastest piston engine in the world is actually a plane, and it's 536 mile an hour. So if we come back from Bolivia and we've done 520 mile an hour, the guys with the planes would say, yeah, see you, we beat you, you're not as fast as us. So I'm a Kiwi and I don't really want to let them have their ego sit on the spot. We want to knock them off. So the best idea is chase 550. That's the reason why we're doing that. So we've then got to build a car that we think will do that job. Well, we had a plan A, B, C, D, E, all of them are tipped over. So what we're left of now is the one that I didn't want to use, which is a big block Chevy engine.
Especially with COVID and all the supply challenges that come with it, realising his latest goal in the Wairua 2 hasn't been an easy journey. Reg has had to adapt and continually approach things differently. For example, parking the idea of using a Lamborghini V10 as the power plant and embracing an engine hot rod fans know only too well, a big block Chevy. And as you'd imagine, that's not the only element of the build that's well outside the box.
This is a big block Chevy engine that is going to be here and we'll hopefully have 2,500 brake horsepower. I think it'll do the job. One of the things that are different, this is our intercoolers, and we're going to use water-to-water cooling for the engine. We won't be using a conventional radiator. On the car that is different compared to most V8s is the size of this dry sump pump. It's got 6 stages of dry sumping in it. The other thing that's really different in this car, there's going to be a gearbox in here and 4 wheels driving in the front. I don't think there's many cars ever made like that, but this is the only way that we think we can get the traction. So in the back, just behind this, we hope to have a set of wings, which we can get more downforce if we need them. One of the reasons for making this car longer is we need to have a huge amount of ice on board. So this is where the ice goes. We'll have 160 litres of ice. We'll also run a lot more batteries because we're thinking of not running an alternator, and we'll run the latest batteries and things, so that area will be a lot bigger than my other car. The cockpit area, this area has to be indestructible, and it's the same kind of rules that they use in drag racing and funny cars and all that. So it's seriously strong. It's built so that if this car does have an accident, everything else falls off and this piece is intact. In the back and here is just one wheel, and all it is a jockey wheel, and hopefully aerodynamically there'll be very little weight on here, and all the weight is on those wheels. Inside here I think there's going to be an air brake, a flap that comes out to slow us down. So when we go to slow down, the first thing we'll do is employ the air brakes, then the parachutes, and I don't think we'll touch the brakes at all. We'd want to be under, probably 50 mile an hour before we touch the brakes. At the back, I guess, the one thing that compared to most cars, there's 3 tubes here for the parachutes. The most unnatural thing to do is to go through the finish line, and to keep it stable, I kept the power on and then pulled the chute. And when that chute comes on and you can feel the braking, you relax, because if it didn't happen, you're going to go a long, 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 long way.
And alongside the Wairua, Reg also has a few other goals in mind in another vehicle he's putting together that'll take him right back to his motor racing roots.
I started my early life with minis, and I raced them. I think we held every 1000cc and every 1300 record at some stage. I've always had a soft spot for them. I really want Kiwis to own the fastest mini in the world record. I want to use the oldest mini and the smallest mini. So we found the oldest shell that we can find. It's number 3,497, and we're still going to use a 998 engine. Now, I'm going to look a right wally if we fail. So because I don't want to do that, we'll make sure we succeed. We're going to do it. That's it. Finish. All over. Kiwis rule.
Unsurprisingly, Reg's South Auckland race shop is also littered with memorabilia from past championships, engine programs and record-setting runs. A notable example is the incredible engine that powered his Nissan, an engineering marvel that represents the epitome of performance.
So in here is the Synergy engine. It was designed by Simon Longdell. This is 2 litre. It has 450 brake horsepower on pump gas at 14,500 revs. This engine here of Simon, it is the best 2 litre engine. There is no other engine that turns out that kind of brake horsepower. And that's a credit to Simon to do that. We gave him the brief that no stone unturned, and he did exactly that. I saw all his homework. It's a credit to him. We run that in Cookie, and we've got all 2 litre records in that.
With trophies, keepsakes, photos and paraphernalia everywhere you turn, there's so much here that's a testament to Reg's many successes. But ironically, it's another area of the workshop that he seems to be particularly proud of, the dyno.
I guess this is the mecca for engine builders, to have their own engine dyno and to experiment and learn. And the only way you can ever find out whether you're telling the truth or a lie is to have your own engine dyno. So I've had engine dynos since for over 50 years, and I was involved with mechanics all around me. They all knew everything. Well, actually after a few beers they knew everything. So the only way to prove it was to get a dyno, which is what I did. It's quite often we put something on and think this is going to work. Yeah, right. It doesn't always work. So it's been a great tool to help create honesty.
To us, it seems that Reg isn't really one for looking back. He's much more engaged with what's coming up. What seems to really get him firing is talking about how he and the team are going about creating their next engineering marvel. For Reg, one of the most important aspects of what he's doing now is about supporting the development of new engineers and doing everything he can to encourage them to lead the charge.
What we want to do is encourage people to do things that are more mechanical and more constructive to our society. So we actually need more people to think that they're capable of making a difference. Engineering is a way of making a difference. We're taking on what you might consider some form of impossible mission. And then people say, why are you doing that? And I say, because I want to get attention to the fact that we're capable of doing this. And by giving it a go, then hopefully the engineering community and other people think, well, why don't I do this and why don't I do that? When I look back now, we can't do this without all the amazing engineering ability of this country. Because you couldn't rely upon the rest of the world. Anyone who's thinking of taking up an engineering degree or engineering in any way, get in there and do it, because that's how you get involved in my project or V8 supercars or anything. There's a huge opportunity to get in there and do it.
It's hard to quickly summarise Reg Cook's life, career and achievements. There's simply so many things he's accomplished over the years across every aspect of motorsport. But as he once again gears up a 70-strong team to head overseas to break a whole new range of records, perhaps one of the most impressive things is that a man in his mid-70s is still pushing so hard to break new ground rather than resting on his laurels.
At 75, you would say, I'm too old for this. None of us really know how old we are, because if I look in a mirror, I don't see a 75-year-old. The last thing I want to do is be this mature person who acts appropriately, because my brain is still a rat bag. I'm proud of myself whenever I do anything properly. That's simply it. This is just a result of me doing some of the things that I have to do. Some of them I've done okay. They can call me determined, difficult, an old bugger, or whatever they want to do. But one thing is synonymous with Reg Cook. If he starts something, he finishes it. So they know if they get involved, we will probably knock it off. But if you want to do something different, if you want a challenge, we're it.
The advanced protection of hybrid ceramic.
Whoa.
Now in 3 easy-to-use products. In original spray wax, now as a liquid wax, and a spray detailer. Meguiar's hybrid ceramic family with advanced SiO2 technology. Meguiar's, ceramic made easy.
Rizlone has been in engines almost as long as engines have been in cars. Why? Because from then until now, there's never been a perfectly clean fuel. This means every time you fill up, you're adding pollutants and contaminants to your fuel system. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner can cure those woes and help save your engine. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner adds an upper cylinder lubricant, providing double the cleaning power out of the same bottle. We know something about aging well, so when we say it's your engine's fountain of youth under a screw top, you can count on it. Rizlone is the original engine tune-up. Available at participating stores near you.
Welcome back to Repco Muscle Garage. We're now heading down to Hamilton to meet tattoo artist Shane Wickie. Cars and motorbikes have long been a part of Shane's life, inspired by his petrol-mad parents, who apparently were always busy modifying something. And over the years, Shane's been the same. But for him, one project has become the culmination of a life's passion. This 77 Chevy C10 Silverado. It's a vehicle that represents the best of both worlds. It's a strong looker and a tough daily driver that takes care of business too. Just what Shane was looking for.
Well, I had a work truck, but then had to go part-time. Of course, my ute had to go, so I had to choose something else. I found 2, this one and a yellow workhorse, and I thought, oh, look at that yellow workhorse, big wheels. And my son sort of looked and says, no, Dad, don't get that one, get the black one. I like the wheels, so we got the black one. From there, it sort of just continued on to sucking up money like a sponge. I love these long panels. The more panels that you can look at on a car, on big Chevys, they got long, long panels. So I thought, yep, that's good of me. Nice and straight, it was in good condition, it had no rust. It came out of Nevada to New Zealand 15 years ago. And I thought, oh, well, little truck, I'm going to give you a birthday. Had a love of Hot Wheels cars and Tonka toys that were square. So this thing just fell right into my passion zone. We were pretty happy with what we've come out with, so money's no good in the bank today.
Following in the family tradition, Shane quickly developed some ideas about where he could take the Silverado. And so he went off to see the team at Bad Penny, Hamilton locals who specialise in all things custom, to talk about modifications. It started with a few things like shortening the diff and quickly turned into C-notching, big work on the tubs and airbagging, which not only looked great, but also served a practical purpose for Shane, making the car easier to access, especially when it came to chucking bikes on the back. And then, of course, there was the engine.
Initially we had a 350 in there, which it came with. That wasn't the original motor. It was a Vortec, which was about 10 years younger than the rest of the truck. It had a Sniper EFI, which was pretty good. We had fun changing things on the dash, but it had its little problems. But I was happy with it. So before I actually decided to change it, went into Bad Penny and said, hey guys, I think I need some airbags. I mean, I wanted it low. I was an everyday driver, throw a bike on the back, take it to the track, and Bob's your uncle. The first thing was body off. Let's see what we've got under there. So they took the body off. The airbags setup was good. We had plenty of space for the compressor and everything. So I was like, great, let's go for it. A week later, I went back and I said, oh, I'm not sure about that motor. So let's get a new motor for it too, eh? So we ordered a crate motor from Outlaw and Aussie. The chassis is sitting on the ground. They stripped everything off the chassis, everything out the engine bay. They put the brand new 6.2 litre crate engine in there. And what a beautiful sight that was. The engine block and all that stock, it's aluminium. It came with everything already bolted to it. It came also with a muscle transmission. So it has 3 modes on the transmission. It's linked by computer to the engine. 3 settings, which is street, track and drag. And of course we wanted it on bags, so we had to change the tubs. And that was a big job manufacturing steel into the shape of something that looked factory. There's a heck of a lot of metal gone in there, hours and hours on the English wheel by Josh. And he done a fantastic job. They look great. You can't tell that they've been manufactured by hand, cut up and welded and pasted back in. I went crazy after that. I went, what about the brakes? Let's put the brakes on. Oh, hang on, Shane. Hang on. You don't need new brakes. It's got truck brakes. Just give it a boost. And he put in a hydraulic system, which is a system that links to your power steering and gives you pressure from the power steering up into the brakes master cylinder, which was stock, and to your brake pedal, and it stops on a dime. You've got to be careful. So all that, I want new brakes thing sort of was like, what a waste of money that would have been.
After almost 3 years of hard work, the results are everything Shane was looking for, and more. So what ultimately did he want to achieve with it? And what's his favourite aspect of the completed build?
So I think I like that squareness about them. And even though they're old, I thought, well, you know, you can make it new. We all love getting in a new car, and this is joy, it's crazy. So I wanted to make something that was old and bring it back into the future, but keep that original look, which is why I didn't want to flare guards. I chopped the axle and shortened it up to fit some bigger tyres underneath. And of course we raised the front tubs to accommodate for that, all trying to maintain the original square look, which I just loved since I was a kid.
The Silverado has obviously been an incredibly fulfilling and rewarding project for Shane. A sharp-looking daily driver that can also really take care of business. But for him, the most important aspect of the build is actually more about leaving a legacy. Shane's poured his heart and soul into this, not just to have something fun to drive, but to leave something for his whānau that'll live on. And that makes perfect sense because his love of all things automotive was inspired by his family in the first place.
It's a passion I've always had. My mum and dad have always loved cars, and I guess whenever Dad brought a car, he'd pull that motor out and put a new, better motor in there, and that just transferred to us, all my two younger brothers as well. I think I get really good satisfaction of knowing it's a major achievement to be able to be in a position to do such kind of work to a car. A lot of people have big companies and things they can buy, stock cars and boats and all sorts, but I'm just a worker. I've always been just a worker. So I thought I'll just keep being a worker and I'll put my money into this. That will be my comfort, my award for life, because life's short. It's become something I can leave for my kids. I don't have a lot. I've got a few bikes and I've got this, you know. So I thought, well, at least I'm going to leave something behind for hopefully my grandchildren and enjoy. They love it. Took the grandkids for a drive in it. We just went around the block, of course. Yeah, wide-eyed and laughing, and it'll be there for them to enjoy long after I'm gone, which I'm happy with. Yeah. With a lot of people's help, it's been rewarding meeting those people and watching them and seeing their skills. They have amazing skills. It's not easy to do. So I take my hat off to them and I thank them for helping me achieve my dream. Yeah.
Cheers for watching. We'll see you soon on Repco Muscle Garage. Feel like your car could do with some TLC? No worries, we've got every base covered because we could be hooking you up with an incredible prize pack thanks to our sponsors. For a start, there's this massive Maguire's and Rislone complete car care pack valued at over $760. We've also thrown in this handy 85-piece Repco toolkit valued at $672. To stay on top of everything underneath, there's a $500 mount shop voucher. And last but not least, you'll also score a year's subscription to NZV8 magazine. That's a total prize pool of nearly $2,000. To enter, just head over to themotorhood.com and hit the Repco Muscle Garage link on the homepage. The winner will be drawn at the end of the series, so make sure you get amongst because this prize pack is one major haul. Good luck. Repco Muscle Garage was proudly brought to you by Repco. It starts with the parts. Mount Shop Undercar Specialists. Maguire's, people who love cars love Maguire's. And Rislone, high performance additives for high performance vehicles.